Welcome to 91.9 Public Affairs and APSU TV. I'm Micah Terrell. Austin Peay students who study abroad get to do so much more than just soaking up the sights and sounds of an amazing place, like say the United Kingdom, for instance. They also take in knowledge about the universal experience of humanity, as well as cultures and communities. Our APSU Govs who studied abroad in London this spring break are also taking their lessons and applying them here locally. We'll find out all about that and a lot more in just a moment. But first, let's meet all of our friends here from the Study Abroad group. So welcome Dr. Tracy Nichols. She's our faculty mentor and professor of communication. Hi, Dr. Nichols. Hi. And then we have our students. We have Jalen Gonzalez, Ethan Steinquist, and Ashley Roberts, and Caleb Zaget. Thank you all so much for joining us today. So Tracy, if you could start us off, tell people who don't know what Study Abroad is, tell them what the program is all about.
So our program specifically is a spring break, 1 week over spring break trip to London. And we pack up our lives, and while other people are relaxing or at the beach, we're going to London to take in some of the sights, but then also to work. The students in my class also do service learning. So we take at least 2 days of our 7 days there and serve and take in London and the surrounding areas as much as possible.
And they get to do lots of cool things, which we'll talk about in just a second. So if someone's interested in going, can they get maybe, you mentioned the trip is about a week roughly. Is there financial assistance available for these folks too if they want it?
Yes, Austin Peay has experience grants for juniors and above, a certain number of hours. Financial aid, any financial aid that you have can be applied to this. The Office of Study Abroad also has scholarships available and travel grants. So there are multiple ways that a student could easily finance the course as well as the trip.
Awesome. Now, as a faculty mentor, each trip is probably different, right? Mm-hmm. So this trip, what were some of the things that you carried away from this service learning trip to London?
What a special group of students I have. All of them have been special, but this group bonded well and was very supportive of one another and very eager to learn, to grow and to learn, no matter whether it was in the classroom here, but especially when we were abroad. They were very attentive and really just kind of soaked in everything that they could, and very intelligent students and very kind students, and those things matter.
Right, and then, so they've done a lot of great stuff in London too, but they'll be taking the skills they got there and then also using them here. Can you share a little bit about what they'll be doing here in our area in Middle Tennessee?
Yes, we are finishing up our local service learning opportunities. Here in Tennessee, we are working with WAPX organization, which most people in Clarksville are very familiar with, and then also working with the Austin Peay Office of Community Engagement and Sustainability. So we had some students this morning already working with Earth Day Fair, and then we'll also have Plant the Campus Red assistance, and then other things, gardens. There are gardens. So what I tried to do is pair as closely as possible nonprofits in London with the local nonprofits, so the students can compare the communication in those organizations, because that's what the class is communication and organizations. Cool. So Little Village in London was primarily a warehouse with packing and doing things specifically for children, newborns to 6 or 7 years old. And so WAPX also has some of those opportunities. And then the gardens that we worked with in London, so we have community gardens here on campus too that people may not know about. So trying to compare those and have those opportunities for the students.
Yeah, so very cool stuff. And it's great to have those comparisons too, which is a great segue for us, because we'll start with Jalen. Jalen, tell us about why you got involved with the Study Abroad London program.
Studying abroad was always kind of on my radar from being out of the country when I was in high school. So when I seen the opportunity to go to London and learn about how organizations can communicate and effectively get their information out, I thought it was the best opportunity possible, and I wanted to jump right on it.
Yeah, no, what was it like going to the Little Village warehouse that Dr. Nichols was talking about, where you're basically kind of sorting and going through items and doing things like that? What was that like?
It was an eye-opening experience in a way, because we were building cribs for families in need, and they were also packing like for the families. So being able to see like how much they give back in London was, you know, it was like loving for like the community type thing.
Yeah, and what was it like to get to kind of get a glimpse of what it was like in that area of that where you were and seeing people reacting to what work you were doing?
It was good because they said that our group came in and expanded like how much productivity they've produced, and also seeing that from kind of the other side from where we were like staying at, and seeing that there's another side of London where they might not be as well to do, and we were able to help bring them, you know, more goodies and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm going to ask everybody the same question. So Ethan, I'm going to ask you too, what made you get involved and what was your experience like at Little Villages too?
Yeah, so for me, the reason I wanted to do study abroad is that I'd never been out of the country before. So I thought that would be an amazing experience to go, you know, spend some time in another country, learn about the people there, give back. And it felt like something that I'd be able to take away a lot from, and it certainly was. So I'm really glad I was able to do that. And with Little Village, so I was part of the group. We were sorting through a lot of clothes. But, you know, we were getting rid of, recycling things that weren't usable anymore, and just, you know, categorizing everything for the people who work there so they could ship that off to families in need. And that was super rewarding. But one thing that stood out to me in particular was they had a whiteboard at the front that it's like every week they would update it and talk about here's how many volunteers we had, here's what they sorted through, here's kind of the impact they made. And I saw the one from the week before us, and it said they'd gone through like, you know, 8 bins of clothes. Like they call them cages, and it's you know, basically like halfway up to the ceiling, completely filled with bags of donated clothes. And we did 4 of them in one day, and you know, volunteers the previous week had done 8 the whole 7 days. And so it really put into perspective the difference we were able to make out there, and that felt really great to be part of that.
That is great, and that's a huge bin. That's wow.
Yeah.
When you were done, what you were like, okay, whoa, that was a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things too, where even as you're working, because you're taking a bag out, and you can see as you're going through it how much you've already sorted, and I think that for me that's helpful to be able to tangibly see what I've been doing and what kind of difference it's making.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that for sure. That was also working at Little Village. We were working with a lot of local volunteers. So that was one of our best opportunities to actually spend some time talking to the people in London. And that was really cool. You know, we were just talking about little things like dialects and TV shows that people like to watch. Like there was one guy I was talking to, and we just got to talking about, he used to watch this show called Horrible Histories with his family. And apparently it's really big in the UK, and I'd never heard of it. But he was talking about it. It's one of those things. I guess it's a children's show, but it's written in such a way that, you know, families like to watch it together, and it's something that has like an all ages demographic because of that. And then after we had that conversation, I noticed like an ad for Horrible Histories, 20th anniversary or whatever it was on a bus. I saw some merchandise for it in the shops we visited. Just little conversations like that clued me in a lot on like, just, what the day-to-day is for people out there. And I was able to look out for some things like that and connect it to the conversations I had. So I thought that was really cool.
That is cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing about that, Ethan. And same for you, Ashley. What got you excited about going to do study abroad in London? And what was your experience like at Little Village?
So for me, it was super unexpected. I didn't really think that I would have came upon the opportunity to go overseas into London specifically. But whenever, I talked to my advisor, Dr. Barron, and he said, if you want to take this class, you can. It's completely on the table for you to do and take advantage of the opportunity. So I was like, sure. And it was also my first time going out of the country as well. So I'm glad that I kind of put, a little bit of the anxiety and fear of the unknown behind me and just, just dove straight into the opportunity because it's something that I feel like was just super irreplaceable, and the experience was just, one that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So it was just amazing just to have the opportunity to do it, a blessing as well. In Little Village, my time there, I was also working on the cots, and I really enjoyed that because, you know, I was busy. I was like using my hands a lot, and just knowing that what we were doing was going to directly affect positively someone, a young child, like in the near communities and things like that. It just made it so much better and easier to work and to kind of converse with a lot of the locals that were there as well. It was just an amazing experience all around.
That's very cool. And get to meet the people and other volunteers who are just, trying to help out a little too.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Caleb, what about you? What got you interested in study abroad, and what was it like being at Little Village for you?
I will be honest with you, this was a transformative experience, particularly studying abroad in London. You know, it's been times, it's been in the back of my mind, I thought about studying abroad, but I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone and do something great for myself and for others too. So I saw this opportunity, to go over to, for example, a Little Village and help out by building cribs and also sorting out clothes too, to give back to their community too as well. And what I find it very interesting is like the way they organize their whole warehouse, and it's more about the volunteers over there. And I just find it very, very meaningful, to work with them, and most importantly, to conversate with them, because normally when you conversate with others here, for example, people just go on with their days there. It was just very meaningful. Like, it was just as an example of just getting to know them, who they are, because they are very down to earth when you try to get to know them for who they are.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go and I'll ask you this, and then I'll go and ask everyone else. What did you notice was a little different or the same when you did work here in Tennessee compared to the work that you did in the UK? Obviously, people are down to earth, as you mentioned there, but different kinds of cultures and different things. Did you notice anything different about them? And if so, what did you notice? Or were they the same? Were they similar kind of folks?
So they were somewhat similar, but for them over there, they are quite reserved. But as soon as you pull off conversations with them and just try to break it down to them, they come very down to earth about it, and they more than likely to conversate and engage with them. And I just find the connections with them very meaningful.
And I'll ask this too, because I know some of us have a Southern accent. Was anybody asking you, where are you from? Or are you from around here? Or anything like that? Because I know sometimes our accents can make it a little interesting to understand each other.
Yes, some people may ask that, for example, just depending on the dialects of the accent, of course, because I know mine is a bit different from the Southern accent, of course. So they may look at me a bit differently, but at the same time, they'll treat me like with them, so.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you, Caleb. Now, what about you, Ashley? What did you notice in comparison service learning and working and helping the community in the UK versus here?
I had done a lot of community service here before I, went to London. The thing that stood out to me the most was just the organization that I witnessed, especially at Little Village. It was just, like Ethan brought it up, how they kind of had the whiteboard, and it was almost like statistics. You could just like read off just how much you've done, and you could literally, visualize and see the impact that you had made. So I would say that the organization at Little Village was something that stood out to me in a very positive way. I wouldn't say that it was much different than what I experienced here in Tennessee or in the U.S., but it was just something that definitely stood out to me.
I bet you have to be organized with that much stuff and that much, huge warehouse. So yeah, organization's huge for sure. So awesome, thanks, Ashley. What about you, Ethan? What did you notice difference between different nonprofits and how they work here and there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd say organizationally they were very similar. So here in Tennessee with WAPX, I was riding around in a truck collecting donations and dropping them back off at the warehouse. And then, like I said, with Little Village, I was doing clothing sorting. So sort of if you put that together, you kind of would get the whole process, right? Of, picking things up, dropping them off, and then sorting it to go to families who need it. So honestly, like just looking in the warehouse and being in that environment in both places, I would say it was pretty similar. And the main difference I've noticed is just the way people are in a sense. It's like here they talk about Southern hospitality, and people are very open and they'll just come right up to you and talk to you. London, I think it's kind of like any big city, and it's like Caleb said, people are maybe a little more reserved, but once you start that conversation with them, it's going to be just like talking to somebody anywhere else. So I think really what it showed me is that just the humanity that you'll find wherever you go in the world, that there's going to be people doing these same kinds of things for their community. They're going to have it set up in a similar way, and it just shows that just how we all care about each other as people.
Exactly. No, that's very true. Thank you for Ethan for sharing. I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have anything else to share?
Oh no, you're good.
Okay, awesome. Jalen, what about you? What did you notice in the work you did in the UK versus here with APAC?
I think they pretty much hit a lot of the points, but I feel like the main thing that was the difference was in talking to the people and like their genuineness. Like we talked to a guy named Bob, and he was expressing how he felt about just different cultures and stuff, but kind of like you said, they do point out like that American in us and are quick to ask questions, and we were quick to ask questions, and that's what I kind of enjoyed from like Little Village, was being able to bounce off of how you feel about America versus how we see the UK, and then we also ran into people like in the line going into a store, and they were like, "You American? Where you from?" We're like, "Tennessee." They're like, "Oh yeah, you're the only 10 I see," and stuff like that. So yeah, that was real like fun experience as far as like the people and like their interpersonal communications.
Very cool, nice. Now we're going to talk about the gardens in just a second, but in case anybody's just tuning in, welcome to 91.9 FM and also APSU TV, and we're talking with the Study Abroad Service Learning class and their faculty mentor, Dr. Nichols, all about the trip to London and all the fun things they've learned and got to do. So let's talk about the gardens. Tracy, if you could tell us a little bit about the gardens the students went to, and then we'll ask them about what the work they did and all the kind of fun things they learned there too.
Sure. So we worked with Calthorpe Community Gardens, and although they're a garden and that was what we did, they also are a huge activity center for the community, and it's right in the middle near King's Cross, so a very urbanized area, very London if you think of London, but then right in the middle the community said, "We don't want more construction." The city council there asked them, "What would you like?" And they said, "A garden." So the people put together this garden and activity center, and that's where we went to work.
And it's very cool. What, Jalen, tell us what you got to do there.
So Calthorpe was kind of interesting to me because it kind of really put into perspective how there's not much gardening in the city, and people don't have their own like flower beds at their house like my grandma and stuff like that. But being able to have a space where you can like be environmentally friendly, and we were able to like help clean that up for the community and like the high schoolers when they come and just chill out over there, and like the rest of the community. That was real fun and a really good experience.
Cool. Oh, very nice. Awesome. Thank you, Jalen. What about you, Ethan? What did you get to do?
Yeah, so when I was at Calthorpe, I was part of, we were trimming leaves and branches and things for composting. And that was honestly, it was really cool. I've never been much of a like get out and work in the yard kind of person. So it was one of those things that was a new experience, just to spend some time in an environment like that, and just I guess do some repetitive manual labor. And I honestly thought it was really relaxing. Sort of, Jalen pointed out that it's a very green space in the middle of a really urban city, and I thought that was very cool. It's also a nonprofit organization that does a lot of different things and offers a lot of programs and services for the community. But one little thing that stood out to me, honestly, with it being that kind of green space, that was the first time I saw a wild animal in London that was not a pigeon, was in Calthorpe, and there was a stray cat that was just hanging out, getting some sunlight out there. And I'm a huge cat person, and that made me very happy.
Nice, yeah.
And it was really rewarding. It was another one of those things where you could kind of see throughout your time there what you were getting done as the pile of things that you were working through got smaller. And it was, I was happy to be a part of it. It was a great time.
Yeah, very cool. And even though you probably are like, oof, that was a little bit of stuff, but it's good, the satisfaction, right? Getting it all done.
I mean,
Nice.
I think it feels good to spend some time, doing some physical labor too. I think like you feel really like you feel really accomplished when you get done, right? So.
Definitely, for sure. Awesome. Thank you, Ethan. What about you, Ashley? What did you get to do at the gardens?
I was also with Ethan. I did a lot of chopping down the leaves and branches, and that was something that I had never done before. So it was definitely just a cool experience, kind of getting my hands dirty and whatnot. It was very nice, and I felt like it was also a really good bonding experience as well. I feel like the class, for some reason, at that service learning opportunity that we did at the garden, I really felt like that's when the class really started to come together and bond a lot more. And so that was just really fulfilling as well. But yeah, it was just great to see the progress that we were making. And it's funny that Ethan brought up the cat, because that memory totally left my mind until he just brought it up now. And yeah, I vividly remember Ethan being obsessed with the cat that was there. So that was really, really funny and really cool. Like I said, we learned each other's personalities, I feel like, a lot more during that experience. And it was just great.
No, that's awesome. And I'm glad he helped you remember the cat.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. What about you, Caleb? What did you get to do at the gardens?
So for what I did at the gardens was sweeping up weed, dead leaves, and all the other debris. And it just gives me a flashback of when I used to do it when I was little with my dad in the driveway, in the backyard, just sweeping up all the dead leaves, and also just getting all the debris and getting the weed out. And I just find it very fulfilling, especially doing it at a garden in the city of London, because it's not often that you find gardens within the city, especially in London, because it's normally like cold nearly year round. So it just felt great. Honestly, just seeing a group of students just coming out and just relaxing, just walking around through the walkways, through the garden, I just find that very fulfilling, because of course students have classes during the day. Just seeing them just coming out there, just getting that fresh air, the fresh smell of all the plants, just getting a glimpse at it. I just find that very, very fulfilling. And also that too as well, and what stood out to me the most is just having the garden and just in the middle of the city. Because normally in London, you just see all buildings, but just having a garden where people who love to see the plants and flowers, they're just somewhere to just relax and just soak it in. I find that very happy for me just to see. So
Yeah, that's really special. I mean, to have a little kind of oasis, I guess, kind of thing. And we're almost out of time with y'all. What would you like to tell people who have thought about study abroad, who maybe considered it? What would you tell them?
And I'll tell them to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I'd try it, especially London.
Because it's not often that you get to go out and study and analyze the culture. Because some people, they may have it in the back of their minds, but it's more about just taking the action to do so. Because opportunities like this don't necessarily come often, so.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you, Caleb. What about you, Ashley? What would you tell people who might be considering study abroad?
Yeah, I think Caleb hit the nail on the head. He said a lot of the times you find that it's in the back of a lot of students' minds, as it was for me. But as soon as the opportunity arises, really inquire about it and just see, is this something that I could do? And I feel like 9 times out of 10, it will be. In Austin Peay, they made the process super easy for me. It was my first time out of the country, first time experiencing study abroad in general. So, for students at Austin Peay, they're going to make the process easy for you. They're going to help you out as much as you can, and they're going to try to accommodate, the things that you need as much as they can as well. So, like I said before, it was just truly a blessing. And if anyone, out there is thinking about it or the opportunities in front of them to do it, I'm the first one to tell you, please take advantage of it, because you won't regret it. And it's just an experience that, once again, is just irreplaceable. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing. Appreciate it. What about you, Ethan?
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I would encourage anybody who has a chance and who's thinking about it even a little bit to go for it. And I think one of the biggest things that people should remember is, the logistics, the travel, the scheduling, all those things that can be really intimidating, especially for somebody like me that had never been abroad. Dr. Nichols and the university do a fantastic job, handling all that for you so that you can really focus on the trip and the learning experience. And it's one of those things where, it's basically an entire week of doing things that you've never done before. So it goes by really slowly. You get to take it in and you gain so much from it. And yeah, again, it's something that you really just get to go out there and do it. And you don't have to think too hard about making it happen. So yeah, I'd say anybody who's got a chance, definitely go for it.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you, Ethan. What about you, Jalen?
I think studying abroad and just seeing other cultures is probably like one of the best experiences you can have like in life. And I feel like if anybody is thinking about studying abroad, they definitely should do it on the account of being able to just open your mind and being able to be hands-on and understand how other people live.
Very cool. Thank you, Jalen. And Tracy, what would you say as a faculty mentor? What would you tell friends who are thinking, maybe I ought to do this?
I would tell other faculty who may not be teaching a study abroad course or a class, I would tell any student on any level, even if it's not my class, study abroad. If you have the opportunity to do it, it is, as you've heard each of them say, life-changing. It's transformative. And I can say that all day, but until you've gone, you don't realize how transformative it really is. So whether it's this class or another class, do it if you have the opportunity to.
Awesome. And thank you all so much for stopping by, but we're not done yet. So we'll be right back after these messages to speak with the rest of the students who got to experience London as part of the Study Abroad Service Learning. Thank you so much and stay with us. Welcome back to 91.9 Public Affairs and APSU TV. I'm Micah Terrell. We're speaking with students who recently participated in the Study Abroad London group with the service learning component. We're here with their faculty mentor, Dr. Tracy Nichols, a professor of communication. Thank you so much for joining us. And then we have Kira Thompson, and then we have Lena Bryant and Isabel Hershey and Tamar Williams. Thank you all so much for stopping by. So Dr. Nichols, if you could tell us a little bit, please. We understand, we talked with the other students, but they got to do a variety of service work, and they got to go to Little Village, which is, you explained it's a place that helps with young people from very beginning, newborn up to a certain age. Tell us a little bit more about that, assignment that they did.
So our opportunity was to work with a warehouse. They have 2 warehouses, and we were fortunate enough that they allowed us as international travelers to come in and work with them in their warehouse. And so there were lots of opportunities for the students in terms of building cots, or we call them cribs, and then going through tons of donations, everything from shoes to robes to regular clothes, and putting those in categories to make it easier for the donations. And one of the things that we all really enjoyed about Little Village was that they only accept the best. So if there was the tiniest blemish on it, it went to a different place for donation. For Little Village, they only accepted the best for the people that they were serving, and we all appreciated that.
That's awesome. Very cool. Now, if you could start us off, Kira, tell us how you got interested in study abroad, and then tell us about what it was like at Little Village for you.
Last semester, one of my professors had advertised it in our class, and I'm a senior, so I never thought I would study abroad. I thought my opportunity was kind of done, but she had offered us up this opportunity, and I was like, it's only a week, so if I get homesick, I can come back home. It was fine. And so yeah, I ended up just going for it, and I really, really love community service. That's a big part of who I am. And so I just felt like everything aligned with the timing. Little Village was amazing. We could talk for hours about Little Village, just not only their service, but also the people that work there are just super impactful, and it's really community oriented. And even though we're from 2 different cultures, we've never met these people before, it really felt like home there. It took us no time to warm up, and we were all just sitting there laughing the whole time, getting things done, and so it was really, really nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kira. What about you, Lena? What made you get interested in study abroad, and what did you think about Little Village?
So for me, I've always been interested in traveling, so this was the opportunity for me to do so. So I'm actually in PRSSA, and Dr. Nichols and Kira and Tamar actually brought it up, and that was my first time hearing about it. And I almost immediately took the chance because I knew that if I didn't do it now, the chance would probably never come again. And then for Little Village, it was just an amazing experience. Like Kira said, the people there were genuinely good people. The organization really wants to do good in the community and help others. So that's what really drew me to volunteer with them.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. And what about you, Isabel?
Kind of the same thing with Kira. I'm graduating, and so it was never study abroad felt like an option, you know? Most study abroads that I had looked into were 4 to 6 weeks. It was a longer term, and that just didn't feel realistic to me. But I saw a flyer for it outside of the comms, comms department, and I was like, oh, it's just a week. That would be really cool. And I love that it was with service learning organizations. And I went and talked to Dr. Shea, and he told me about the scholarship that I applied for to be able to go. Was the Gilman McCain Scholarship, and so getting to talk to him about that and learn that there were options, that was really, really impactful for me, and I loved the trip. It was amazing, as you can imagine. Little Village, it was funny because we were all jet lagged, because it was the next day, after we got there, that we went and talked to them, and they were just kind of oh my goodness, y'all just got in yesterday. And we're yeah. But it was a really cool experience, and just to sit down and talk with them about the culture, and just learn about the differences so early on in the trip was really, really cool, and definitely started the trip on a good note for sure.
Very cool. Thank you, Isabel. What about you, Tamar?
Well, for me personally, last semester was actually my first semester here. I'm a transfer student. So because I was transferring in my last year and I'm graduating soon, like they were saying, I didn't know that this trip would be an opportunity for me. But one of my professors, Dr. Gray, mentioned it in class. I just, spoke to my mom about it, prayed about it, and I realized this was something I really wanted to do. I love to travel, especially internationally, but this would be my first time overseas, and so I thought it was a great opportunity. It was only, like they said, it was just a week long for spring break, and I think it just opened my eyes to so many other opportunities and cultures and just lifestyles. And Little Village really just, I think it changed me as a person. I'm very passionate about giving back to my community and passionate about service. So I really love that not only did they provide clothes and cribs, but even just the small things that people didn't think about when moving into a new place, like trash cans, cleaning supplies. They supplied everything from like A to Z. And also the workers there, the people who we worked with were absolutely phenomenal. It was, I don't know, it was just like invigorating. Like it just gave me so much good vibes and energy talking to them. And I really like talking about the cultural differences, things that we say over here in America, things that we do over here compared to what they do. And they were so like open, if that makes sense. I guess that was something I was kind of worried about, that the locals would be kind of closed off and like conservative. But they were very open to talking with us, laughing with us. Even the director, he said that at the end, he said he's never heard so much laughter in the warehouse before. He could barely get work done, but he loved it. So it was amazing.
That's awesome. And I understand y'all had a lot of work, like the bins are really big.
Oh, yeah.
They call them cages.
Cages, yeah, so cages. So I understand too that you got to work with WAPX, which is kind of like a close, here kind of, again, group that helps folks who need things. What was it like working there compared to what you did at Little Village?
So recently working with WAPX, it was very similar, I would say, except for I think WAPX mainly focuses on food and clothing and maybe some like household supplies instead of like cribs, baby car seats and all that stuff. But one thing I found very similar with WAPX is that like Little Village, we were checking for only like the best of the best. So we didn't want to give anyone any stained clothes, anything with rips or tears. They told us, this was actually something they told us at both locations, coincidentally. If you wouldn't give it to someone yourself, like personally, if you wouldn't give it to someone, why would you want to keep it to have it donated to someone?
True.
So WAPX was really fun, and like I said, I like to serve, so.
So cool, very nice. Tamar, thank you. What about you, Isabel? Did you notice some differences, similarities with WAPX and Little Village?
Yeah, a lot of what we did there. So we started out sorting through a bunch of Amazon like Amazon returns and boxes and stuff. So it's kind of random things that we got to help them with. We sorted through a few pallets of it, and then they moved us over to clothing. And so getting to work, same as with Little Village, getting to sort through clothing and organize it, that's a big project that they've been trying to tackle. And with everything going on lately, they haven't been able to dedicate time to it because all their resources are all over the place. Like they're doing a lot down in Texas and over in Mississippi and everything. But getting to, sort through clothes, and like Tamar was saying, like they take the best of the best. Like I think everything had tags on it. Like it was all new with tags. They didn't have any used clothing there that we had to sort through. It was all brand new, and so we got to sort through for that. But the big difference is with WAPX and Little Village is more focused on, a certain age group. It's more younger, working for, with babies, toddlers, and under the age of 7, whereas WAPX is more broad. So they try to help everyone. And I think a lot of at least on the day that I worked, I guess y'all weren't there, but on the day that I was there, we were working with, women's clothing or teens clothing and stuff like that. So it was different, but still kind of the same aspect of working with clothes and, even just getting to talk while we do it, which is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Isabel. What about you, Lena?
For me, I would say both were, the scale was very large. They had huge warehouses with like a multitude of things. I would say a difference between the two was that WAPX had more volunteers. So like when we went, there weren't enough tasks for us to do. So we kind of got out a little bit early as well. But to Little Village, they needed more help. And like even in the board, like what was it? Like they had like the numbers of like the bins, the statistics of it all. We just in a day we sorted more than they had sorted the whole week. So it was really interesting to see just how much they needed the help, but also how popular they were.
Definitely. Thank you, Lena. Cool. What about you, Kira?
Yeah, I think honestly, the whole setup of it reminded me of Little Village, like us at the table sorting things through. I really liked, honestly, when we were at YAPAC, when me, Tamar, and Lena went, there were actually a lot of like younger kids helping. And I thought that was really, really sweet that like kids that age were so passionate to like help people. Like they were in it, they were doing their thing. But yeah, it definitely reminded me of Little Village. I think there were a lot more volunteers for sure at YAPAC. I think Little Village is the warehouse was a little more like quiet, but yeah, you can tell the similarities even just from like structurally, they were very similar.
Very cool. Thank you. Now I understand gardening. You got to do some fun with the gardens too. So tell us about that, and then we'll ask you what your experience was like with that.
We had the opportunity to work with Calthorpe Community Gardens, which is a wonderful space where where you can plant food. You can also, they have a huge sustainability, like liquid sustainability and like a mulch, something more traditional that we would think about. And then they have an activity area outside, and then they have an activity center too, all for the community in the middle of King's Cross area of London.
Very cool. Now, Kira, tell us, what did you get to do in the garden?
I wanted to plant a tree.
You wanted to plant a tree?
I wanted to plant a tree. But me and Tamar were cleaning up around the like garden bed areas. So we were like sweeping the walkway, just getting everything nice. I did get to dig up. They wanted to make a little stone path, so I was digging them up a little path, and then they had this like kind of cobblestone path area that I was cleaning out, but I really love being outside, guys. It's my thing. I wanted to plant that tree, but maybe next time. But yeah, we were just cleaning things out, and then we went inside for afternoon tea. It was really sweet. It was really nice.
Yeah, what was that like, having afternoon tea?
I love it. I still do it, guys. I bought like 3 packages
Did you
of tea
buy
when I
tea?
got back.
That's great.
And I always have afternoon tea now. To me, it's their version of like, if you have a neighbor and you're outside talking for a while and they'll be like, oh, do you want to come in and get dinner? Like, I think that's kind of their version of afternoon tea, but everyone does it. Like, everyone everywhere. I think everywhere we volunteered or just went, it's always tea around. And so it's really nice. It was a good kind of debrief time, and the tea over there is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. But I really enjoy that they do that, because it's just kind of nice. It's very nice to just sit down with everybody and just enjoy some tea.
Oh, that's very cool. Awesome. Thank you. Lena, what about you? What did you get to do?
So for us, I was with Ashley and Ethan. So Calthorpe, they have lots of like compost stations. So we were chopping up like leaves and like sticks and just making it small enough to be composted and like turn into, was it like oil?
Well, they had an oil machine, and then they had a traditional crank out some mulch machine. So I wasn't sure. I think that was in the traditional crank out mulch machine.
So we were like chopping up leaves for that machine. And then I just really loved the experience because I got to talk to my classmates more. Like we were able to just, as we were working, like just talk and like bond a little bit more. And then also we were just cleaning out like the sheds and stuff like that, making sure like just the grounds were like nice and like neat.
Nice. One of the other classmates, I think it was Ashley, said that she felt like at the gardens you all kind of gelled as a group.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I really agree with that. It was just a great experience, and it was really nice to just be able to help people while also just getting closer to each other.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Oh, Isabel, what about you? What did you get to do?
So starting out, I did the same thing as Lena. We were chopping up. It was a lot of stuff. We were, we had shears and we're chopping up, and it was a little strenuous for me being pregnant. So they put me in the greenhouse, but I got to sort. It was like probably like 300 little tomato plants. Like the way that they had it laid out was, they had all their seeds and they had the trays for them, and they needed to be repotted so they can grow. And so they had me picking apart individual tomato plants and repotting them. And I love gardening, so that was really fun to be able to do that. But Yeah, also really enjoyed the tea. I actually had some last night.
I was going to say, is it like a new tradition? I know for Kira and then for you. Very
well, their
cool.
tea is just so good. Like, you don't even need to put, like, I normally put honey in my tea, but you don't even need to do it with their tea because it's just so good.
A favorite? Do you have a favorite kind?
I got two whenever I was over there. One is it's like a rose and raspberry and peach, so very fruity, very herbal. And then I got this one, it's called Very Berry Crush, and that's my favorite.
Sounds good. Nice.
Probably going to order some more here soon because they do ship here.
Fun. Very cool. What about you, Tamar? What did you get to do at the garden?
So I mainly, with Kira, we cleaned up like the pathways and stuff like that. I did get to help a little bit with chopping up some of the stuff for the composting machine. So that's really all I did. I actually want to own a ranch when I'm older, so this was fun for me, like getting out there in the dirt and all that stuff, and then going inside for afternoon tea. Like they said, definitely a new tradition. It's just, I don't know, it's just like, it just hits, you know what I mean? Just like, I'm not that hungry, I could just go for a little snack, so afternoon tea is perfect. Calthorpe, I definitely think that I appreciated Calthorpe a lot after my trip. I really appreciated like how community focused they are. Like Dr. T was saying, right there in the middle of a busy city near King's Cross. It was just like a quiet place for people to come to. Like I saw people coming in just hanging out. I know they have beds where you can plant your own produce and things of that nature. And even inside while we were debriefing, I saw like a little list or calendar of their activities, and they'll have things for senior citizens, they'll have things for just the kids and all that, so I really like that.
Very cool. Nice. And in case you're just tuning in, this is 91.9 FM and APSU TV, and I'm Micah Terrell, and we're talking with Dr. Tracy Nichols and her Study Abroad London class who had the service learning component. So you all got to sort clothes, sort items, do gardening. What do you think you cherish the most about your experience? And I'll start with you, Tamari. Tell us about that, and then I'll ask everybody else.
I think what I cherished the most was not only knowing I got to make a positive impact in other people's lives, but also like one of my main goals was to meet people who are like-minded and meet people who like to do the same things as me. Like I said, coming in as a transfer student, I didn't know people at all. I didn't know anyone. So I really was just aiming to make connections with genuine people who have passion for the things that I like to do. And honestly, I think that's what I cherish most. I feel like I've made connections and friendships with people that will last outside of this class and outside of university.
Very cool. Thank you. What about you, Isabel?
I transferred my senior year, so getting to find a community within the class has been really special, and especially because it is a smaller class. Like Dr. T, you've taken big groups in the past, like 20 students, and I can't even think about that, but just having a small group of us, you know, we got really close, and that was really, really fun, and just getting to experience that. And then the biggest thing for me was probably just learning about the culture differences, I'd say. Just the different ways that they say things and how they communicate and just their way of life. Like getting to see that is so different from America. You know, I've lived in Tennessee my whole life, and so getting to see, you know, not even just something different in our country, but getting to see something in a, you know, in a whole new city, like in the city of London, like that's incredible. And getting to learn about their culture and what's normal and what isn't, and just all the things that Dr. T prepared us for when it comes to, you know, etiquette, even like just how things are different. And that was really cool to learn more about and get to experience hands-on.
Very cool. Yeah. What about you, Lane?
Same for me. I think something that I just cherish so much is being able to meet amazing people in this class, and also being able to step out of my comfort zone to like go to London, because this was my first time on a plane, this was my first time in the country, so this was just all first. So I'm just happy to be able to spend it with these people and our other classmates. It was just genuinely a nice time, and I really recommend it for other people.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, Kira, what about you?
I would say the same thing, apart from the service, which was very impactful, just like the people going, because I think that we're all so different, and like I've talked to people in the class before, we're all so different, but we all just mesh so well. Like we all have like completely different kind of personalities, but we all kind of came to a middle ground, and we all just meshed really well and got closer. You know, living with each other for a week is bound to happen. But I was really glad. I think our group was just really good. Like from the first time we had went on the tube together. We all went on the tube together. I think it was like our first or second night. And I was like, okay, yeah, we have a good group. Like we just all meshed really well. It was really nice.
Very cool. So if you, again, got the chance to do this again, or you were trying to convince someone, hey, you got to do this, what would you say to somebody about study abroad? Like, this is why you should go.
I would tell them that it's good to step out of your comfort zone and to get out, especially for people who don't travel as often. I think this is a great opportunity to be able, because I mean, this may be the only time I go to London ever in my life, but I went, you know? And I think I was really nervous about going at first because I've never been out the country by myself before. But you know, sometimes you have to just take a chance and just go, and it's really fun, and it sounds a lot scarier than it actually is. I remember when we first looked at the maps for the tubes. I was like, oh, it's like we're gonna be walking everywhere, because it didn't look like anything I could like grasp. But I literally 30 minutes into our first tube ride, I was like, this is nothing. It's fine. I still remember like where to go now. Like I could go back, but yeah, it sounds a lot scarier than it actually is. It's actually really, really, really fun. So that's what I would say.
Nice, thank you. What about you, Lena? What would you tell someone who might be wanting to do study abroad?
I would say for London, once you get off the plane, you just feel like you haven't left home. So I say really take the chance, because it will be worth it. And after a while, you'll start to feel comfortable, and the anxiety will ease, and then you'll be ready to explore more. So my advice would be to get past that anxiousness and that being uncomfortable. And once you get past all that, it'll just be feelings of like fun and joy, and you'll want to stay longer.
Definitely. Cool. What about you, Isabel?
For me, probably, that's hard. I think for me personally, it was really the financial side of things that I'd never thought that study abroad would be an option for me. And so really encouraging people to do it while you can, like while there are opportunities available. Because once you graduate, like those opportunities, I mean, they dwindle, and it's only like that as you get older. And so getting to take that time, dedicated time with a class, like it's not just like we were going for fun, like we were going for a purpose, and it was counting for, you know, class credit, so it wasn't like something additional that you were doing. And so getting to, you know, tack that into your learning experience, that's really valuable. But having the resources while you're in college is really awesome, because once you graduate, it's like, oh man, I wish I would have done that, you know. And there for a while, I wasn't sure if I would even be able to go. And so having the chance to actually go, and I'm like, man, if I hadn't done that, like I would have really regretted that, you know. Like I would always be wondering, what if I had gone? What if I, you know, and that's something like thankfully now I don't have to think about, but taking advantage of the resources, because with college, like they want you to explore, they want you to learn, and go experience other countries, even if it's, you know, thankfully we didn't have any language barriers, but even going to Spain or something like that, that's just an amazing experience that you can really take advantage of in college.
Definitely, very cool. Yeah, what about you, Tamara? What would you tell somebody?
I would tell someone to, well, one, like Isabel said, look at your options. There are so many options. I was grateful enough to be chosen as the social media ambassador. So that's a scholarship from the Office of Study Abroad. They have so many like grants. Austin P has scholarships. So I would just say, if you want to do it, because there are so many ways that you can be able to do it, and that it will change you as a person for the better. Like, I definitely don't think I'm the same person coming back from London than who I was going. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing with us. Dr. Nichols, thank you for stopping by too. Any thoughts from you as we wrap up today?
I think that I have an amazing group of students. As you can tell, they've built a community as we went to go to other communities. So very proud of them, and do it. Like they said, find a way to study abroad. There's so many opportunities to do it. And if you have questions, reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I just encourage people, like they've all said, step outside of your comfort zone and you're going to grow and be thankful for it, I think.
Exactly. And y'all seem so just like, hey, we got to go do something really cool, and now we're even more amazing as a result. So that's awesome. Thank you guys again. Thank you so much. I'm Micah Terrell with 91.9 Public Affairs and APSU TV. If you'd like more info about study abroad, check out our Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.